Hey guys, Andrew at Ship Angel here. Wanted to put a deep dive video together here for the new AI agent that lives inside of the search functionality. It's the same agent that we've been building for our bookings functionality, but it now lives here inside of the rates as well to help you with that decision-making process. So I'm inside Wallpaper City. Teddy, who's our engineer who builds our AI agent Maddy, this is her account, so this is why you see her picture versus not my picture. Inside of search, when you search for an origin and a destination, I'm going to do a repeat search here for Shanghai to Port Klang, you get a lot of results. And from here, the decision-making process from the user starts. Who should I book with? What's the rate? What's the surcharges that I need to consider? What's the D&D that I want to evaluate? What's the allocation picture, roughly speaking, with this carrier versus another carrier? I could dive more deeply into the MQC details if I wanted to. Ultimately, though, I can sit here and I can make a decision on what is or isn't the rates that I want to present. From here on the right, you're going to see Maddy now has presented these rates and said, hey, here's what you need to know based on your allocations and your operational data that's being fed inside of Ship Angel. You have carriers, you have TEUs that are awarded annually, you have a percentage of which carrier gets what award on this lane. O&E shares the bulk in terms of percentage and volume, and thus weekly allocation of 10 TEUs versus 2 for the other. I get 16 TEUs of capacity allocated on this lane, and here's the breakdown of it. Additionally, you could start to say, well, which weeks, which carriers, what's the picture between allocated and booked? That information then allows me to say, well, maybe I want to look at this week on Maersk instead of O&E. You can start to see the allocation forward projected based on the operational data, make good decisions on who you should or shouldn't use. Additionally here, I can take this one step further, is we also have the ability to bring in that market data. And so in the rate card here, I can search and look at this market rate versus my rate. I can see how competitive my rate is with the market. Additionally, the question that I want to ask Maddy, I'm going to copy and paste it in here just for the sake of time, but I have an extra 15 TEUs on a lane. I need to move this. Can my allocation support this? And then secondly, if I use the spot market instead of my current long-term rates, is there a cost increase or decrease for this additional volume? And so what we're trying to figure out is, okay, great, I have rates, I have some allocation that I could use, I have now a potential total of 30 plus TEUs to move. 16 of it is covered. I have open bookings currently. I could go finagle, but I might have to go to the spot market. Well, I can figure that out today by looking at my rate on the long-term market. And so my rate is 1733. The long-term market is a little bit lower here at 763. There's a differential on my rate versus the long-term market. But if I go to the short-term market and say, hey, dear NVO, I need to move some cargo, how does that compare versus my rate? Well, in this scenario, I can see a little bit of a cost savings of, let's call it $300 a box. And so I could say, okay, I can save $300 a box, $150 a TEU if I were to move this on the spot market. I could go research this, but Maddy can as well here. And so you'll see on the right here, based on this search, I have extra allocations. She's basically saying you do have support here because you have open allocations booked. And oh, by the way, this is probably how you should book it. But also then part 2. Evergreen, spot market per high cube, spot market rate versus your rate. There's a differential, there's a potential savings here. And so savings per TEU for Evergreen is $867 per TEU, a 45% reduction. So ultimately here, if I were to use this, I'm saving a lot of money, almost $4.5 grand a week. You multiply that by multiple weeks, I found some savings. It's going to mess up your allocation picture, but you could quickly present savings to you to potentially save some money. You can potentially pass on some savings to your customer, increase your margin by a few percentage points. There's ways to save money, still move the additional cargo, and I've been able to do it by asking an AI agent to sort of surface that information for me, as well as I could go research this, I could see what the differences are and make good decisions, or I can have the AI agent go do that. Additionally, and a more advanced question that I want to paste in next here that I could type out, but for the sake of time, I'm going to paste, and is this. based on everything that's happening globally, the Strait of Hormuz, the Iran situation, the cost of fuel has gone up for ocean carriers. The cost of bunker fuel, the cost of gasoline, diesel, everything has gone up generally. The question is, well, what's going to happen to that long term as we get into Q4? So here we're saying, hey, Q4 is going to have a higher bunker. Can you model this out based on the estimation that fuel is going to increase between 20 and 40%? Your BAF figure is going to go up by 20 to 40%. What's that going to happen for me? What's my cost exposure? What do I need to budget for? This is a common process you're going to download data, you're going to compare things in Excel, you're going to filter graph, you're going to spend hours and hours modeling this out. Maybe you have an ERP system that you can do this. Maybe you have access to Excel geniuses in your business intelligence group, but this will take you time to figure out. Here we can simply paste in the question to Maddy, ask her to do the research because she has access to your allocation data. She knows your expected volumes week to week. She knows when Q4 is. She knows what your BAF values are. And if they're increased between 20 and 40%, she's going to be able to do the modeling for us to say, hey, here's your exposure. And so based on what she's able to present here is a lot of information. But ultimately here, the BAF value, here we go. So a 20% BAF increase is about $40 to $40 per high cube. That amount here gives you a new total surcharge and a new total price on different scenarios. And so if we use these scenarios here, the baseline scenario is 0, the 20% BAF, you're looking at $117,000 that you need to budget for, potentially increases for cost in Q4 for the bunker period. $120,000 is the 40% scenario. And so very quickly, I'm able to present scenarios to myself or my boss, my team, my colleagues overseas. Hey, if the BAF goes up, this is our exposure. This is where we're thinking about having problems with our carriers. How do we mitigate this? Where's this money coming from? Is it just going to shrink our margins? There's a lot of different information here that you can do with ultimately to say, hey, my budget's going up. What do I got to do? How do I approach this? A lot more use cases here. I could go on for 15 or 20 minutes on different questions and use cases, but very quickly you've been able to see I can search a lane, I can evaluate a decision process, I can now ask the AI Maddy assistant here to ask different questions. She's going to present information for me that I need to know, but now I can also ask advanced questions, budgetary questions, scenario questions, things that really drive businesses' margins up, hopefully not down, or at least give you visibility so you can start to make a plan. How do we mitigate the BAF? Maybe we start to renegotiate, we use some spot market rates, we accept that a spot market rate may result in a dead freight on certain lanes. The differential between my rate, the spot market rate, and the dead freight gives me advantages to simply, you can now be run directly with Maddy inside the ShipAngel search functionality.